It has been quite a while since we last covered the story of old Christian Weston Chandler, and in that time he's been spotted all over the place, from Europe to Virginia, and it's really only those two. He's been spotted in like Finland and then back home where he always is, but just seeing him out of his comfort zone and over in a new country is still something wild to see. If you don't know Chris's story, he's what many consider to be the original lolcow, the one who people kind of went at first, and there's probably been people before him, but nonetheless, Chris is the one who really got the most like eyes looked at him when the internet started messing with him all those years ago. But the reason people even started following Chris in the first place was just because of his wild antics around his hometown. His attraction sign he would take to his college where he would try to find a single woman, which is, that deserves a whole video into itself. He's also the creator of the Sonichu comics, where he merged Pikachu and Sonic together because he loved both of them, Sonic more so. But it's caused him more headaches than anything over the years, but it's his life work and he refuses to give any of it up. Countless wars with trolls, fake girlfriends, and in more recent years he has just gone off the deep end completely, thinking that there is a dimensional merge coming that's I don't really know what it's gonna do other than make all of Chris's dreams come true, because it just means that all of the cartoon characters from all of fiction will now come and live in our world, something Chris has wanted for years now. But at the current point in time where we're at right now, things have never been more quiet on Chris's end. And it's shocking to see, considering that Chris was somebody who lived his life terminally on the internet for almost 20 years. But then, about 4 years ago, Chris admitted to, let's just say, doing some horrible stuff to his mother. His incredibly old mother, who probably didn't even know where she was at the time, but Chris went to jail for this for about 2 years. He was let out. And since then, he's been, in all uncertain terms, he's been living the life. Chris has been traveling around the world. He's seemingly finally found a sweetheart, and it's been going good for him. This is like, and I'll be honest with you guys, when I started this channel and was covering Chris Chan, I don't think one single comment said, hey, when he gets out of jail, life is just going to go swimmingly for him. It's actually going to take a complete 180. I think everyone thought he would just end up in the streets, but it's been exactly the opposite. Chris has ended up with a better life than anybody we cover here on the channel. But at the end of the day, he is still Chris Chan, and of course the internet will always make sure to whip their phones out when they see him in public and take a picture. And what's funny is, you're not only going to see a photo of Chris and Flutter in Finland, but then like a week or two later, there's another photo of them two from in Virginia. And the one in Virginia, though, is clearer than ever. We've always had these cryptid-style photos of Chris and Flutter that a lot of people even speculated were coming from Chris's handlers themselves, just to keep Chris, like, a little bit relevant and get people talking and being like, oh, there they are again. But that's just speculation, of course. I don't think Chris or the people around him are that wise. But that's not all we got to talk about this week, because Chris was back on Twitter, and he's basically now begging people, don't hate me anymore, because I'm not a bad guy. And I'll show you that tweet. It's one of the most wild I've ever seen. Just somebody going to the public and saying, look, I am a good person, and I will no longer be a prick. Like me. And then finally, I want to look at some new YouTube videos Chris has been putting out. I didn't even know these things existed, but let me just tell you right now, they are possibly the worst videos, like the worst videos of all time. And that's not an exaggeration. The sponsor of today's video is Five. If you are an adult over the age of 21, then you can enjoy Five's wide selection of edibles just like your boy here. From gummies to sodas, Five has everything you need to kick back and relax while you enjoy your favorite content here online. And get this, Five's newest chill watermelon gummies are infused with strain-specific terpene blends and are engineered to hit in less than 10 minutes. No more of these slow start buses, because before you know it, you'll be on cloud 9, and it doesn't hurt that these gummies are delicious too. Another thing that makes Five so awesome is the convenience. They ship right to your door, and right now you can get a free jar of Five's chill watermelon gummies just by paying shipping, and you can get that by going to the link in the description or pinned comment and using my code FREE5SMOKEY. The wait is finally over, my friends, and with Five's 100% legal, direct-to-door edibles, you will never need to pick up your lighter again. Thank you to Five for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on with it. So in this first video, Chris and Flutter were spotted out at like some marketplace in Finland. And I don't know about you guys, right? Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but there's been a lot of speculation for months now on whether Chris and Flutter are a couple or whether they're just friends. And to me, it's like they're matching now. Look at her. She's got the white and blue hat. He's got the white and blue shirt. All he's missing is some red lines right there, and we're pretty back close to the classic. Now, obviously, some of you may be saying, we can't even see either of their faces. How do you know this is Chris and Flutter? And to that, I say, go back and watch any video on Chris and Flutter. This is Chris and Flutter. I guarantee you that. Look at the dude behind them, too, just staring at them. Like, he's never saw anyone like Chris Chan in Finland, ever. Like this poor Finnish man trying to go about his day at the marketplace, and he has to see Chris across the aisle from him, or whatever you call it, across the pathway. But over on the quickie, and it'll be linked down in the description below, is apparently like a back and forth with the guy who posted this picture, and you learn a little bit more about it. So the person asks, hey, I was wondering what Chris and Flutter said when you saw them. The person says, hello, they were talking to a cashier at the booth, clumsily trying to speak Finnish, but then asked for English. I don't remember the exact words, but the voice was distinctly familiar. I don't think Flutter said a word. I can ask my friends I was with if they heard. The guy asks if he heard Flutter's name, if they had spotted Chris before, and if they knew if Chris and Flutter were a resident of that town. The guy says no, he didn't hear anything. Flutter barely spoke, and he's assuming they're like around the Helsinki area. And people being this invested in finding Flutter's name is simply because she's attached herself so closely to Chris Chan. I mean, at this point, it's literally Chris and Flutter every time Chris gets spotted. She's basically become his companion, the person he's with all day. And that's why so many just assume they're in a relationship. If it gets found out that after all this time they're just really good friends, it'll make all those times Chris was on his live streams talking about the friend zone make sense, but I don't know, man. If they're wearing matching outfits out to the market together, I'm going to assume there's a little more going on there. But then this photo dropped of Chris and Flutter at Walmart, and there it is. That's Flutter. And I've seen theories thrown out through my comment section or over on Twitter, and if you want to follow me there, follow me at SmokeyMcC. And people have been saying, like, you know, she's not a one-for-one replica, but there's a part of me that kind of feels like she has that Megan vibe to her. Maybe it's the hair, maybe it's, I don't know, but I kind of can see it too. And also, Flutter definitely is a bit older than people imagined her to be. Remember when those first grainy photos dropped? People were fearing the worst because really, Flutter is a very short woman, and when you couldn't see her face clearly, people were like, holy shit, Chris might be like walking around with a kid. But you guys can let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm wrong. But to me, this photo here kind of just, it confirms what I had already kind of thought. Flutter is a woman either around Chris's age or maybe a little bit younger. And honestly, it also seems like Flutter noticed this person was taking a photo. And in other instances, like I said, it's always been grainy. It's always been like kind of like these weird pictures where you're not quite sure if that's even Flutter in them. It could be anybody. This one, though, it's cut and dry. That is Flutter, and she did not like her picture being taken right here. You can tell that already. And it's so odd to think about the first time we actually saw this woman, because do you guys remember this? It was like 2 years ago, and Chris was spotted at like a game store, and he was like hugging on her and even like had his face down close to kissing on her. And since then, we have seen no types of like contact between these two when they're out. Like none of Chris putting his arms around her or anything. And you know, I'm gonna go on a wild speculation rant here, but a part of me thinks maybe Flutter herself noticed that and was like, hey, let's not give the trolls any more ammo. Let's not like do anything in public. Don't hug me or anything. And maybe she's the one keeping him on the straight path. As you'll see with the videos I'm going to show you later on, Chris will always be Chris in the sense that, you know, that's just how his mind is. But with him being off the internet for the most part, not tweeting all day, not yelling at people and fighting with people and posting videos freaking out about My Little Pony, just makes me think maybe Flutter's like, hey, let's not do that. If they're together and they're this close all the time, you gotta think she has some influence on his life. And if this is the way his life is going, then she's probably a pretty positive influence. But again, that's speculation. For all we know, she could be this like cold-hearted like business owner that's just like, you get your ass on Etsy, make more of those Sonichu medallions, fucker, sell, sell, sell. Because if you were wondering, that's how Chris makes his money. See, his handlers, the other guys in his life, the Prater, while Chris was in jail, these guys were just selling a bunch of Chris's art that he would send them from jail on his Etsy shop, and that's how Chris would make money. And now that he's out of jail, Chris is just, continuing to make money by selling his arts and crafts on there. Obviously, these Sonichu medallions he sells bring nothing but bad luck to anybody who wears them, so I don't know why any poor soul would get one, but they do, and Chris makes a pretty sizable living off of it. And I guess the whole theme of this video is things are going good for Chris Chen. It's really rare that I make a video on someone and it's like, wow, their life is kind of like not in the same place it was when we first looked at them, and it doesn't stay the same. Like, look at Cyrax. He's been in the same position from the day we started covering him. Tofiachu, kind of different considering what happened to her family, but she's still, just begging for money and she's going to remain homeless. Nova, same thing, all of them. But Chris, this is just, it's not something anyone predicted. And I don't know why I'm doing this right now. This is kind of odd. It's a Chris Chan video and all that, but like this is one of those moments where something just like popped up on my phone and I feel like I got to bring it up here because when else will I talk about it? Apparently, and this is unconfirmed as of when I'm recording this, but maybe when the video's up and later down the line we'll know, but apparently King Cobra JFS has passed away. I'm not sure how true this is. I'm hoping it's not true at all, but I probably shouldn't even have this in the video, but considering this just happened right now and I'm recording, that's quite odd. We'll get back to Chris here in a second, but prayers up for Cobra. Hope nothing's wrong there, but it seems like right now it's not looking good. I'll be talking about any updates in the comments below or over on Twitter. Sorry for just dropping this on you guys. Like I said, saw it live and it kind of just shook me up here. But to get back to Chris and Flutter, or to try to in any way, I've always had this speculation that Flutter was just another one of these people, part of that Prater group, the one that kind of watches over Chris, got him that Etsy shop, got him a fucking house, and maybe she was just always into him. Those people who surround Chris seem to have a very deep care for him. If only he could have shown that same care to his mom. This tweet from Chris right here was released a few weeks ago, where he says, "Everyone, I realize and understand that over the past few years, I've been a real jerk. I've said and done sensitive things to others over the years, and what did it get me? A lot of being trolled and lots of regrets. I solemnly swear from now on, I will never be a jerk again. Lightning bolt, heart, lightning bolt. What is this? First off, I feel like Flutter and him were probably chilling one night, and she was like, just try it. Just try it. And he's like, I've tried 1,000,000 times. They never listen, those trolls. And she's like, just tweet out and say, hey, everyone, I'm sorry. Maybe they'll understand. And Chris is like, well, okay, I'll do it. And most of the comments are just comments about motherfucking, so it's not like it worked. I think also maybe Chris and Flutter saw that guy in the shop taking a picture of her, and since they knew it would be like the first time it would be a pretty clear photo was released, Chris tried doing some damage control and was like, everyone, I know I've been a jerk and I won't be again, hoping that people wouldn't be a jerk to Flutter. But I haven't seen anyone being like mean to Flutter or saying anything mean. They're just like kind of shocked that it took this long for that photo to come out, where people are like, oh, that's her. That's the girl that's been following Chris Chan around for years now. But I'll be honest right here, Chris taking accountability, in a sense, because that is what he's doing here. He's saying, look, I've been a jerk, and what did it get me? I got trolled. That to me is eye-opening. He's not saying, like, you troll bastards, you ruined my life. He's saying, listen, I throw my hands up. I was a jerk, and you guys trolled me because of it, and I will not do it again. Look, if Chris doesn't be a jerk again, if Chris isn't being like a piece of shit to people, if he's not online screaming at people about ponies and just being the worst type of consumer, especially when he goes to places like GameStop and starts macing people, maybe he can turn a new leaf. But I don't know. There's so much horrible shit in Chris's past that it really makes you see this and go, yeah, no fucking chance. It's Chris Chan at the end of the day. But let's see if Chris can own up to his own word here and not be a real jerk anymore. Do I think he'll do it? Probably not, but it might just be more of him being inspired by Flutter. Like, I know I'm bringing that up a lot, and it sounds like I'm giving Chris a lot more credit than I should be, but, like, as someone who's watched, like his content and how Chris has evolved over the past few years, it's weird seeing him go from, like, wearing a million different bracelets and necklaces and all this shit, to just dressing semi-regularly out at the Finnish market. Just going to buy some goods with his girl. That's usually not what you expect when you think of the Chris Chan story. However, there's also a theory that he's just been trying to lay low. He knows that if he dresses very, just over the top with a bunch of hats and earrings and bracelets and stupid shit, people will recognize him. So he started to dress more normally and expects not to get recognized, but it's fucking Chris Chan. People will recognize him if they see him, especially if he opens his mouth and they hear his voice. But if Chris and Flutter are happy and they're living between Virginia and Finland, then, more power to them. This power couple is going to take over Equestria one day, and I guess I'm all here for it. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this whole situation, because really, it's Chris Chan. You can never take anything this guy says seriously. One of these days when something pisses him off, he's really going to be that real jerk we all know him to be. So I think we'll just sit here and we'll give it some time. If time goes on and Chris is on stream in a few weeks saying, hey guys, that dimensional merge stuff is a crock of shit. Wasn't I just this loony right there? And let me just say to all you guys who've called me out of my shit over the years, you're right, and I was wrong. My jaw will hit the floor and I will make a video immediately going Chris Chan has changed. Well, as a matter of fact, the thumbnail of this video will be Chris Chan has changed, ? Because no, he hasn't. But if he does, there will be a period at the end of that statement. But one thing that absolutely hasn't changed is Chris's love for toys and his love for Transformers shit and basically his own little world of characters that he can make for those toys. And what he's been doing over on his YouTube channel is a bunch of reviews for the new toys he gets. I don't know what to make of these videos because it's exactly what you'd think it is when you hear of a Chris Chan toy review. It's quite grating.
He may be the first, but he's still not as cracked up as he is made out to be. Yeah, you're right. He's too tall to even match a radio tower.
What an intro. What a fucking intro. That put my Oasis X Tophia intro from the other day to shame. It's just Chris making noises. What the fuck?
Hey, what's up everybody? Jesus Christ, Chad Sanchi Prime here once again.
And I'm sorry to constantly cut in here, but trust me, in a few seconds you will be begging to hear my voice rather than this video. But Chris is still on his Jesus Christ Chan shit, and he will never change with that. I feel like I've said that in every video I've ever made on Chris, but that shows you where his mindset is still really at. He can be out in public and saying that he's a changed person, but at the end of the day, he still thinks he's God. That just shows you what mental state he's in, and he's thought this for a long time now. The fact that he even thinks the dimensional merge is still a thing shows you just how out there Chris is. So personally, I don't think there's any chance of him becoming a better person or getting better in any sense until he can get better with that shit. Once he realizes he's actually not the Messiah, maybe Chris can start to change, but I don't see any changes coming from a guy that thinks when all the cartoons come to this earth, he will also be the king of those cartoons. Because his story isn't crazy enough, right? Like you will be bunking with Superman, but Chris will also be the grand, the big leader who tells you all what to do. Because he's Chris at the end of the day, and he has to be the big kahuna in every story that he ever makes.
It's another quick review video, and today we are reviewing the second Voyager in the third wave of Transformers Legacy Diverge, PVC Citizens Con, Character the First. I forgot the joke. I can only do this one more time, but first. Okay, back to the show. Woo! Alright, anyway, so here we are, and there he is. And first and foremost, as always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging. So right from here, we got Mr. Cractor being all blushing and jetting all the way. Look at those blushes coming out the thrusters in this back, and just, hey, you gotta love the improved art quality on these. So anyway, Transformers ACL Verge, he is a Forger class of Viaje, clase Viajero, clase Viaja. PVC Citizens Bots, Character the First, Transformers! On this side of bots, you got the artwork of Character the First in a nice dynamic pose right there. His arm and the gun on his right hand continues into the front panel, and just a big old shot close up of Tractor, and there is his name in Cybertronian. On this side of bot, you got half of the lovely artwork right there, the post art. You got the top half right here, and there you go. Anyway, so there's the top, and there's the bottom with the words, dates, the barcodes, and on the back of the box you have your obligatory process, this, that, the other, combined to make a bigger robot, and a lovely bio if you'd like to read that here, or you may go to the quick light. And that's basically it for the packaging.
Yeah, no, sorry, we're not even gonna look at the fucking toy. Like, Chris killed any will I had to watch that review just with his little review of the box right there. I'm gonna be honest, I did not know going into this that was Chris's own action figure. I saw the Transformer thing on the side and was like, oh, it's a Transformer or something. I didn't look close enough. I didn't notice there was all of Chris's drawings all over this box and shit. So he's basically just reviewing his own toys. And of course, he makes sure that Sonichu can show up and give his piece too, because why the fuck not? But it's Crackder the Third. And what a clever name. I looked up the name Crackder because 9 times out of 10 when I say, oh, this is one of Chris's made up things, it ends up being a real thing. This case, I'm 99% sure this is one of Chris's made up things. A merged Transformer with his own name on it. Like, this is Chris's own brand, but it looks like he's just writing shit over the already like the image is already on the package, you know? I don't know. This is Chris's this is his livelihood right here. I don't know how many people are buying these, if they're even for sale. I can imagine this is something that would take Chris a fair bit of time to pull off, but videos like that will just show you, yep, that's classic Chris Chan right there. No matter what he gets spotted doing out in public, it's always going to be like this at the end of the day, talking about his little characters and his little world, and that's really all he needs. Hopefully one of these days Flutter understands that, because she comes second. I'm assuming she knows that already because of all the time she's been spending around Chris, but yeah, I mean, holy shit, I just noticed those words on there actually do say Chris Chan Sonichu and all, so Chris must have written that himself. But yeah, back to the Flutter thing, she will never be his one true love. Chris's one true love is Quickville, his own made-up town, and his Sonichus, the characters he created. Air quotes on created right there. But that's his life, and I don't expect anything to change, despite Chris saying it will be. If anything happens or there's any updates on Chris, I will of course update you guys on that, but ever since I started this channel, I've been telling y'all, when something happens with Chris, or if there's something to talk about, I will of course talk about it with you guys. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys stick around for the next ones. Thank you again to Five for sponsoring this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Now that the video is kind of over and done with, I just want to mention again that Cobra stuff I brought up earlier. I'll have any updates down below if anything more comes out on that, but just keep King Cobra in your prayers.